Just 15 miles north of Albuquerque is the town of Bernaillo. Cutting through the center of town is Bernaillo's main street, Camino del Pueblo. But this is only the road's latest incarnation. Prior to modern times, it was El Camino Real, and in more recent history, Route 66. Starting as a small grouping of haciendas along the Rio Grande in the 1600s, this village's initial connection to the outside world was El Camino Real. And today, more than 400 years later, people venturing this historic stretch of road still come to Bernaillo from all over the globe, where they are greeted with its small town charm and hospitality. Numerous mom and pop shops line this main street, welcoming you as soon as you roll into town. I'm a big believer in going local, so I'm excited to check these places out. First up, the Range Cafe. Known for its funky local artwork and the most delectable baked goods you can find anywhere, the Range Cafe serves up down-home fare with a New Mexican flair. I had the chance to meet with Anne, who has been with the restaurant for over 19 years. If anyone can give me the backstory on this place, it will be her.
So their very first place they opened up was a little place down the street. Might have had 15 tables.
Wow.
And the first day they opened, they sold out before dinner and they had to close.
And that was a good sign that,
that was a good sign that like they had a good idea. They had the right idea of what the community needed, what people were looking for in the area. So.
And what is it like being in Bernaillo, because it is such a small community?
I think that's one of my favorite parts of being here, is that you really feel you're part of a community, part of what's going on here. The community really embraced the restaurant, especially if you want to know the history. Their very first location had a fire after it had been open about 3 years, and the town people got together and had a progressive dinner to raise money to help the restaurant reopen.
This is just a testament to how important it was to have something like that here, right?
Right.
And just as the community has embraced the range, the restaurant reciprocates the love, as evidenced by the artwork featured on the walls. Nearly every element of the decor has been handcrafted by their neighbors. This place has an aesthetic that is unmatched.
I guess that's what I hear. They just love the feeling, and sometimes people can't pinpoint what that feeling is, but they just love the feeling when they walk in.
Right. When I hear the range, it's a meeting point. People know that, between here in Santa Fe, dignitaries, local people, farmers, ranchers, it doesn't matter, everybody can come to the range.
Everybody's welcome at the range.
Yeah.
When people come in, I've been cleaning my house or moving, they kind of feel bad. It's like, no, it's like, this is your home. Come on in, no matter what.
Even in my travels, when you go to a mom and pop place and the place makes you feel at home. And it's like, I'm so far away from home, but I can find my place in this little small town. Right. I can certainly attest, any traveler will feel home on the range. Now, what to do after a satisfying meal? Antiquing sounds like a good way to go. Down the road from the Range Cafe is Camino Real Antiques, and by the looks out front, there should be some real treasures inside. I had the chance to sit down with the woman who is keeping the idea of trade and exchange alive on El Camino Real, the shop's owner, Fawn. So it's interesting that you have a lot of these old relics that people came to New Mexico for, and that you're still kind of living that dream, Yeah. So was that a big thing for you, being on the El Camino Real?
Well, I think that was a big part of the draw here, but the first one that I rented my shop from, I was going to name the store Route 66, and she said, El Camino Real is so much more romantica. And I thought, there it is.
There it is.
How can you argue with romance?
No, absolutely not. And what has the interaction been with people?
We do have people from every state have been in here, and from 10 different countries, a lot of interest in the old Route 66. So, and then there's also an incredible interest and fascination with all the pueblos, and we were surrounded by 7 different pueblos here in Bernaillo. Right. And we've sold stuff to Cowboy and Indian Museum in the Netherlands. Wow. And so some of our stuff, so we are international as well.
So you're keeping it alive.
We're trying.
And any interesting stories of people that have come into the store?
So many, but the one that really sticks out of my mind that I like to share is there was a French couple, and they stopped in here and they were looking for a Santo Domingo medicine man that they had done a sweat lodge with, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago. And one of my local Vietnam vets was in here also hawking some of his wares. He overheard the conversation. He pulled out this little scroll where he had written down some of his important contact numbers. And on that list was the number and name of a San Domingo Pueblo Indian who was also a police officer, and he knew that he provided sweat lodges. And so we called the officer. He met this French couple out in the parking lot, and off they drove into the sunset.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
And of all places, this was the place that they found that connection with.
Wow. It's always felt since I bought this place like a hub, the hub of a wheel. And just to enable those kinds of interactions to happen, and it has always been a congregation place. Yes.
Bernaillo also has a history of having a lot of bars in like on one strip, right?
Correct. I think since this was the thoroughfare from Albuquerque to Santa Fe, that people needed to wet their whistle, and so there were at least 18 bars, is what I've heard. And there were also 18 gas stations.
And just like a 4-mile radius.
Bernaillo Main Street is 1.3 miles.
Impressive, I must say. And while the number of bars may be fewer today than in yesteryear, no need to worry. One of our state's best watering holes is still right here on Camino del Pueblo, and that is Silva Saloon. You do not want to leave town before ducking into this Cheers-style bar to talk with owners Felix and Stephanie Silva, a father-daughter duo that has kept the family business running for over 80 years. One thing's for sure, in this town, there are no strangers. It's impossible to leave here without a few new friends. When at the Ranch Cafe, make sure to check out their Walls of Fame, featuring signed plates from famous guests. From presidents to actors, athletes and musicians, it's as close as you can get in New Mexico to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. At Camino Real Antiques, if Johnny is working, see if he'll play a tune on his hand-carved flute. And when at Silva Saloon, be sure and ask Felix Silva about his dad's bootlegger days during the Prohibition.